It started with the smell of wet paint and cold metal, that late October chill clinging to the concrete floor of the studio. My hands trembled, nerves more than cold. I stood alone before my battered easel, my own reflection ghostly in the window behind the lineup of professors, men and women I'd idolized for years. Today they'd decide the fate of my master's project. They didn't look up much from their folders and tepid coffee. Above, the exposed pipes dripped quietly, condensation trickling. I'd once joked our lab was a backstage, all cables and steam, but now there was no backstage, just me and that wall of skepticism. I cleared my throat. My project attempts automated interpretation of cellular morphodynamics. We use convolutional neural networks. The grey-haired Professor Lemon, sitting in the middle, lifted a finger, barely looking at me. We've heard these promises before. What makes yours different? My chest tightened. We integrate live data from microscopy with real-time AI correction. It's not just processing, it adapts as the cell changes. He raised an eyebrow. Show us. I bent to my laptop, trying not to smudge the trackpad with sweat. On screen, live fluorescent images danced, cells glowing, swirling like neon city maps. The software traced their shifting contours with swirling color. Professor Lemon offered a wry smile. Pretty, he said, but is this research or a laser show? Some students in the back snickered. I fumbled on, explaining how this could predict cellular decisions, revolutionize drug design, drag oncology forward. Their faces didn't change, blank polite, the occasional flicker of boredom. The world doesn't need another imaging toy, mademoiselle, Lemon said, flipping my printouts. Dreams are charming, science is reality. Don't embarrass yourself by confusing the two. He closed my folder, a soft final slap. My mouth was dry. Thank you for your feedback. They moved on, doors opened and closed. I was still there. Later, Sylvie from immunology stopped by as I packed up. Mathilda, you really think this could work? She asked gently, her eyes sympathetic, almost pitying. Yes, I said, barely above a whisper. She tried to smile, offering that tired comfort. It takes courage to try. But I saw what she really thought. To most, courage without results was just foolishness. That evening at home in the 11th, burnt garlic hung in the air. The disappointment around the dinner table felt too familiar. Papa set the roasted squash down, fork pausing Medea. Your committee was what exactly? Was it humiliating? Is it worth it to keep chasing these impossible things? Mammon sighed, bracelets clinking. Darling, you've always been determined. Why not join Sanofi or the Pasteur, proper jobs with real salary? Your cousin Amélie has a flat now, up on buttock scales. I reached for the water and knocked it, a cold streak across the cloth. Papa dabbed at it, frowning. My brother Maxime just grinned, a little cruel. I wanted to shout, isn't science about risk? But the truth pressed down hard and heavy. I mopped my spill in silence and refused to let my tears fall. After dinner, I walked in the gentle rain along Oberkampf. Car fumes and damp cement and the faint green of the metro lights. The city felt small and mean, but beneath it all, something held me together. I remembered the clarity I'd felt, seeing the AI make sense of what looked like chaos. I wanted that clarity again. Their ridicule turned to resolve. If they couldn't see what I saw, that was on them. I graduated by a hair. Job offers from respectable labs didn't come. 3 years I scraped by on grant work, living in an attic up by Rue de Bagnolet. The landlord's grandchild played the trumpet all day. My stipend barely covered groceries. Some nights my stomach kept me up louder than the city noise. Classmates scattered to farmer firms. Philippe bought a car, posted glamour trips Capri, then Singapore. Sylvie invited me to her wedding. I answered vaguely. I threw everything into my algorithm. When for the first time the code caught an anomaly, moments before expert biologists did, I spun alone in my kitchen, radiator clanging in approval. Outside, though, the world didn't care. Conferences shrugged, paper rejections came in, impressive but speculative, marginal advance, premature. I pawned my old watch, stopped buying books, friends faded, drifting into their new lives. My mother's calls grew more anxious. When will you be stable, Mathilda? When will you join the world? I started lying about interviews, almost offers, promising leads, easier than the truth. The break was quiet, an email at 2:47 a.m. Sophia Bertol, Swiss venture capitalist, your preprint is fascinating, seeking collaboration. I thought it must be spam, but her emails led to a call, then a video meeting, and soon I had a passport and a suitcase heading for Lausanne. Switzerland gleamed, clearer air, brighter faces. Sophia was energetic, direct. She introduced me to researchers from Vienna and Munich, every one of us awkward, a little wild. We were a ragtag crew, no tenure, no family money. But every day together made the AI sharper. We fed it thousands of cell videos, breast cancer, melanoma, rare immune syndromes. Results came slowly, then suddenly, our code found cell changes hours before traditional imaging. Sophia handled the bureaucracy, journalists, hospital boards. I wrote code in sunlit rooms. We grew to 10, 20, all obsessed. Doctors distrusted us. Your AI is a black box, they protested. We trust microscopes. But oncology researchers started calling, pilot programs grew, a university in Sweden paused a trial, our system flagged patients for relapse ahead of any blood work or MRI. Nature published the results, France called, 1, 2, 5 hospitals wanted access, grants materialized, suddenly we weren't a sideshow. On my 30th birthday I stood in a glass-walled office over Lake Geneva, summer sunlight slicing gold across the lake and sky. For the first time a fierce pride here finally was something real. That Christmas Sophia was insistent, you are going home, she told me grinning, Paris is waiting for you. I laughed. They've probably forgotten. They'll remember, the world needs new heroes, not just the old ones. I flew back on a colorless afternoon, drizzle coating the city. The airport glowed with holiday glitter. It all felt small, padded, safer than I remembered. I took the metro, heart full of dread and reluctant hope. Coming through my parents' door, Maxime whistled. Look who got a passport at last. Papa's hair was thinner. Mammon fussed with plates, same apartment, mustard walls, crowded shelves, the old couch. Dinner was awkward as ever. Mammon asked, Switzerland is nice, the lake too cold. I nodded, but conversations spiraled to the usual edges. How little I called, that I'd missed Maxime's birthday, Paris being the only real place worth living. Mammon kept refilling my glass. I longed for the lab, Sophia's directness. Maxime piped up as we ate dessert. Did you see? Mathilda's company is in the paper, she's saving lives. Papa regarded me, skeptical. Real science or another dream? My phone buzzed, Sophia breathless. Can you come to the hospital tomorrow? The Paris trial is done. There's an announcement, they want you there. Mammon's eyes widened, Salpêtrière. I nodded. Sophia says they're expanding the trials, patient outcomes improved, they want to celebrate. Papa only shrugged, doctors do love new gadgets. I excused myself to the balcony, the city loomed quiet but alive, wind strung my face. Did any of this really change anything? Maxime joined me. You still care what they think, he said quietly. I tried to laugh. Maybe I always will. He didn't answer, just watched the traffic lights flicker. Next morning I rode the metro to Salpêtrière. The hospital looked immense, ancient stone beside modern glass. Inside, everything was too bright, sharp corridors, antiseptic air, my code's name bold on the posters. Sophia met me, eyes shining. The press is here, you have to say something. I hesitated, what should I say? She just squeezed my hand, the truth. The auditorium filled quickly, hospital president, officials, doctors lined up. My parents arrived, damp, sitting near the back. Maxime up front, his phone camera ready. I tried not to look for old professors, tried not to let my heart race. It did anyway. The president spoke, earlier relapse detection, improved outcomes. Not magic, not just dreams, proof, he said. He gestured to me. Sophia nudged me forward. I told them what I'd seen, beauty in cells, the hope inside uncertainty, the want to break limits. I told them it wasn't about magic, it was about persistence, about believing in tomorrow. Applause washed over me, real applause. In the lobby, so many hands met mine. A woman shared her daughter's story, relapse caught early, another chance. Even Professor Lemon approached, old and bowed. Youthful dreams, he said quietly, sometimes perhaps necessary. There was no apology, but his look held something like regret. I shook his hand. It felt final, almost forgiving. My family met me in the atrium. Papa's eyes gleamed with pride. Perhaps I was wrong. Mammon squeezed my hand, teary. That evening Mama made coq au vin. The kitchen steamed with wine and thyme. We toasted over dinner, laughter finally replacing the silences of old. Later, on the balcony with Papa, he looked at the city. You taught us, he said softly, that the world is bigger than doubt. For the first time I felt seen, not as a foolish dreamer but as myself. My belief now carried weight, rooted in all I had come through. The dawn after, I walked my old routes, across campus, past bistros where I'd looked in, broke and hungry. Sunlight glinted on the studio windows. Inside, new students clustered around an easel, eager and tense, presenting work to silent panels. They didn't know me. I watched a minute, smiling at their hunger, their nervous hope. I left a note: don't fear being ridiculous. The world needs impossible things. And I stepped back into the city, my heart newly light, Paris shimmering now with the promise not of return but of belonging.